So we had a great time at the feast. I love those opportunities we have to celebrate what God's done and to look to what He's going to do for the next year. Mark, as you look at the last 12 months, what are the things you're particularly grateful to God for?
I'm really grateful for the way in which our way of being church just seems to be becoming much more natural, so much more natural to us. What we do is we release communities of followers in the mission of Jesus, and it just seems to be much more natural for us to be doing that releasing and investing into missional communities, mission shaped communities, and developing them. And it's like there just seems to be a lot less agonizing about it and fear about it and worry about it. This is just what we do. I love seeing that.
Yeah, and hasn't it been fun to see that we've also learned with that how to multiply?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like multiplication is a big deal anymore. We've had at least 2 communities that have done that well. And even though some things have ended, some things have changed over the summer, we're in a place now where several new, exciting, quite creative missional communities are about to begin.
Yeah, that's right. And that's really fascinating to see. There isn't a fear about things coming to an end, partly because we've got experiences of, as things come to an end, God doing new things. And we've got faith for that now. And that's really encouraging, isn't it? And we just seem to be living that out loads more. I think one of the other things is the ways in which we see encounters with God happening across the whole of Kairos, don't we? And we've both been really impressed by that, haven't we, in recent times?
I love that God doesn't seem to make any issue about how old someone is when it comes to encountering Him. I love that some of our oldest members are having the deepest experiences of Him in prayer, in worship, and are also having some of the most exciting adventures as they get out and share their faith and talk to people on the streets. I love that some of our youngest members are praying for people in gatherings, are hearing God in terms of dreams, in terms of pictures, and are becoming, are growing up in an environment where it's normal to experience God's presence. I love how all of us are increasingly encountering more of His power. And as we encounter Him, are learning again and again just how much He loves us, just how great His invitation is to participate in His work.
And it just shows signs of the way in which God is at work around us, and He's doing His business, and we are getting to be part of it. And that's on the back of what was happening last year, which was a call for us to learn and to grow in the fact that money is part of discipleship, isn't it? And that we were, I think, as a church, we were released into fresh steps of generosity, and that leads to us being in the place where we get to be able to continue in that by focusing on key areas of investments. One of those key areas has been, and it seems really clearly to be, the area of supporting the MSCs and developing the MSCs. And that's been very exciting to see, hasn't it? That we've got the hang of how to do that, and we've seen new opportunities with that, haven't we?
We have, and one of the things we've learned again and again is the more you invest, the more you get out. So Helen's done some brilliant stuff getting a role started, developing oversight and investment into missional community leaders. And it's time to invest more.
And we've identified Chris Watson as somebody who is following a call of God in his life to step beyond leading just simply leading a missional community to influencing wider the growth and development of missional communities. And we see him as being positioned well now to be able to develop this role.
So we want to be able to invest into Chris, invest through Chris into the communities by putting together a part-time role so that he'd be part of Resource Base and continue to build on this work of coaching leaders, of developing missional communities.
Yeah.
One of the other areas that we know we have to invest into is the ongoing sustainability of Kairos as a church.
Yeah.
But we've known right from the start that maturity means full sustainability, which means we come up with the money to pay for a pioneer leader.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the other kind of little sustainability challenges and issues for us, of course, is that though we've done brilliant work in the hall to provide ourselves with something of a base from which to work on, the other bit of it, the offices, or what used to be called the cottage, has been underdeveloped. So it is now at a stage when the wear and tear is really showing and becoming more and more of a challenge. And so we recognise that in order to make that fit for purpose, we're going to have to put some investment into that part of the building. This is just the nature of how we set things up and what we've taken ownership of.
God is at work,
Yeah.
And he invites us to play our part. We know what our part is. Our part is releasing communities of followers in the mission of Jesus. What that means is we want to see missional communities everywhere. We'd love there to be communities on every street, in every neighbourhood, so that everyone in this area would know that there's a vibrant, active group of Christians just round the corner where they can experience God's love.
Yeah.
They can taste and see the good news of Jesus.
Yeah. We're investing in the long-term work of God in this church, in this neighbourhood, in this area, in this region. That will go beyond us, and it is beyond us. We take our part now to invest in whatever the movement of God is going on around us, because we believe he is on the move. And what we're asking for and what we're challenging us all to engage in is an increase in our giving to the level of 30,000 a year, which sounds quite big and sounds quite challenging. Actually, it is really nothing in comparison to the ways in which God has already led and already provided to us. But it is a challenge to meet for us as a church. I believe that we can, and that we have all the resources in place and available to be able to do the work that God has called us to do.
What do we want you to do as you're watching this video? We want you to be praying, and we want you to be listening to God. At the feast, we gave out vision and commitment leaflets. There are plenty more of those available at the Resource Base if you didn't get a chance to pick one up. We'd like you to read the information there. We'd like you to talk about this in your household, with your missional community, with those that are part of your discipleship, and decide what your response is. On the first central gathering of November, we'll have Commitment Sunday, and by that point we'd like you to have decided what it is that you're going to give to Kairos this year.
Yeah. So this is a great adventure. We're at our 6th birthday as a church. We've seen God doing all sorts of great things. I'm really, really grateful for all that God has given us, and for all of you in the contributions you're making and your participation in this great adventure that we're on.